She reaches for the glass of water. Her hand is shaking. Her throat is dry. She hasn't been able to swallow in hours. Jana Gysi is 15 years old, sitting in a Wisconsin hospital room, and she is dying. The virus entered her body a month ago, a tiny brush with a bat she barely remembers. Now it has reached her brain. She brings the cup to her lips, and her body betrays her. The throat spasms, the muscles seize, water splashes across her hospital gown as she recoils, gasping, terrified, not of the water itself, but of her own uncontrollable reaction to it. This is hydrophobia, fear of water, generated not by the mind, but by a virus that has taken control of her nervous system. If you see this symptom, it is almost certainly too late. This is Plague Diaries. Every infection has a story, every outbreak a beginning. And this one begins with a scratch so small, a bite so painless, that most victims never realize the countdown has started. October 2004, St. Patrick's Catholic Church, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Jana Gysi is walking through the sanctuary with her mother when she sees it. A bat fluttering near the ceiling. The creature is disoriented, unusual for daylight. Jana does what any kind person would do. She cups her hands around the small animal and carries it outside to release it into the air. She feels something, a brush against her skin, maybe a scratch, maybe nothing. She looks at her left hand. There is no mark she can see, no pain, no blood. She forgets about it immediately. What Jana does not know, what she cannot know, is that the bat was infected with rabies. And in the moment of contact, the virus entered her body. Rabies does not behave like other viruses. It does not flood the bloodstream. It does not trigger an immediate immune response. Instead, it begins a slow, invisible climb through her peripheral nervous system, moving neuron by neuron towards her brain. The countdown has begun. For nearly a month, Jana feels nothing. She goes to school, she hangs out with friends, she celebrates her 15th birthday. Life moves forward in the ordinary, beautiful way of teenage autumn in Wisconsin. Inside her body, the virus keeps climbing. Then, on October 18th, the first symptoms appear. Tingling in her left arm, the arm that held the bat. A sore throat that won't go away. Swallowing feels strange. Her mother notices she is anxious, restless, not herself. On October 19th, Jana sits at the kitchen table and tries to drink a glass of water. Her throat spasms. She chokes. The water sprays from her mouth as her throat muscles contract violently and uncontrollably. She is terrified, but not of the water. She wants the water. Her body, hijacked by the virus, has learned to associate drinking with choking, with suffocation, with pain. This is hydrophobia, and in the entire history of medicine, it is one of the most specific, horrifying symptoms ever documented. By the time Jana reaches Children's Hospital of Wisconsin on October 20th, 2004, she is hallucinating. Her vision is blurred. Her muscles twitch involuntarily. Dr. Rodney Willoughby, an infectious disease specialist, examines her. He asks about the bat. Jana remembers. Her mother remembers. 5 weeks ago, in the church, the brief contact. Dr. Willoughby knows what this means. Rabies is nearly 100% fatal once symptoms appear. In all of recorded medical history, fewer than 10 people have survived symptomatic rabies without prior vaccination. He also knows something else. There is one protocol, experimental and unproven, that might give Jana a chance. It has never been attempted before. The Milwaukee Protocol, as it will come to be known, is based on a radical theory. Rabies kills primarily by causing brain inflammation, encephalitis. If brain activity can be suppressed, if the patient can be placed in a medical coma while the virus runs its course and the immune system responds, perhaps the damage can be minimized. It is a desperate gamble. Dr. Willoughby explains it to Gianna's parents. The odds are terrible. The protocol is experimental, and their daughter is likely to die either way. They agree to try. On October 20th, Gianna is placed in a medically induced coma. A cocktail of antiviral drugs, ketamine, ribavirin, amantadine, floods her system. Her body temperature is lowered. Her brain activity is suppressed to minimal levels. For 6 days, she hovers near death. Machines breathe for her. Her parents sit beside her, watching monitors, waiting for a sign. On October 26th, the tests come back. Antibodies. Gianna's immune system is fighting the virus. On October 31st, against all odds, she wakes up. July 6th, 1885, Paris, France. A 9-year-old boy named Joseph Meister stumbles into his mother's arms, bleeding and screaming. A rabid dog has attacked him on his way to school, 14 deep bites across his hands, legs, and thighs. The local doctor does what he can, washing the wounds, applying carbolic acid, bandaging the torn flesh. But both he and the boy's parents know the truth. In 1885, a rabid bite is a death sentence. Dr. Jules-Émile Vandenberg, the treating physician, has written to a scientist at the Pasteur Institute. A man named Louis Pasteur has been experimenting with a rabies vaccine. It has worked in animals, rabbits, and dogs. It has never been tested on a human. Pasteur is not even a licensed physician. He is a chemist, a microbiologist, a man who has spent his life watching things invisible to the naked eye. He has seen rabies virus under his microscope. He has weakened it, attenuated it, tested it on dogs until they survived bites from rabid animals, but never on a human, never on a child. The legal and ethical risks are enormous. Pasteur makes the decision anyway. If he does nothing, Joseph Meister will die. If he tries the vaccine, the boy might die, but he might live. On July 6, 1885, Joseph Meister receives the first inoculation. Pasteur injects a weak strain of the virus into the boy's body, then progressively stronger strains over 13 days. The theory is simple. Train the immune system to recognize the enemy before the real infection can reach the brain. Joseph Meister does not develop rabies. He survives. He grows up to work at the Pasteur Institute, guarding the entrance until his death in 1940. The vaccine works, but here is the crucial distinction. Joseph Meister was treated after exposure, but before symptoms appeared. The vaccine stopped the virus during its silent climb. 119 years later, Gianna Gysi will become only the second person known to survive symptomatic rabies because she received treatment after the hydrophobia began, after the virus had already reached her brain. The difference between almost certain survival and almost certain death is measured not in medical technology, but in hours. Rabies has terrified humans for millennia. Ancient Mesopotamian law codes mention mad dogs and the compensation owed to their victims. Greek physicians described the terror of hydrophobia, fear of water. The virus is a perfect predator because it uses the behavior of its hosts as a weapon. Rabid animals become aggressive, unpredictable, prone to bite. The virus concentrates in their saliva, ready for transfer. A bite, a scratch, even a lick on broken skin, Any breach can start the infection, and once it starts, the destination is fixed. Worldwide, rabies kills approximately 60,000 people every year. Most of them are in Asia and Africa, where stray dogs carry the virus in vast numbers. Most of them are children, bitten while playing or walking to school. In the United States and other developed nations, rabies deaths are rare, usually fewer than 5 per year, because of aggressive animal vaccination programs and post-exposure prophylaxis. But the rarity creates a dangerous complacency. People delay treatment. They assume the animal was healthy. They assume the scratch was too small to matter. They assume wrong. Jana Gizi survives, but her recovery is slow and partial. She suffers neurological damage, weakness on her left side, balance problems, slurred speech for months. She relearns to walk. She relearns to speak clearly. She is the exception that proves the rule. The Milwaukee Protocol has been attempted in dozens of cases since 2004. Most have failed. The protocol is not a cure. It is a desperate last-ditch gamble that works just often enough to remind us how powerless we remain. Rabies remains nearly 100% fatal once symptoms begin. There is no reliable treatment. There is no cure. There is no second chance. There is only the window before symptoms appear. The window when washing the wound and seeking immediate medical care can save your life. Miss that window, and nothing in modern medicine can guarantee your survival. If you are bitten or scratched by a bat, raccoon, fox, skunk, dog, or any mammal acting strangely, do not wait. Do not watch. Do not hope. Wash the wound immediately. Seek urgent medical care. Accept the vaccine series without hesitation. The real emergency begins before you feel sick. Once hydrophobia appears, the countdown is almost over. Jana Gizi survived because doctors made a choice no one had made before. Joseph Meister survived because a chemist refused to accept that a bite must mean death. But most rabies victims are not so fortunate. Most realize too late what entered their body with that tiny scratch, that brief contact, that moment of kindness toward a suffering animal. The bite guarantees nothing if you act immediately. The bite guarantees death if you wait. If you survived this episode, subscribe because the next one's worse. This has been Plague Diaries.